Welcome back to the O Show, everything crypto every single day. We have some breaking news. It looks like allegedly, Trump has issued a 90-day pause on all tariffs. We are going to go through all of this, see what's going on, look at the charts, look at the markets, talk about all the news, because this is a lot of insanity. Honestly, I am so overstimulated, but I'm also incredibly unbothered by everything. Why am I unbothered by everything? I don't like this foundation. I like the other foundation better. I'm unbothered by everything because I lived through 2008. I also work in crypto, and if you're going to work in crypto, you need to be prepared for anything because there's all kinds of volatility that's happening. Geez, Louise, and shout out to Mixing. Thank you so much for this. It just, everything is happening so freaking fast. So fast. So first and foremost, thank you guys for being here. I'm WendyO. If you guys want to get more, I talk everything crypto every single day. I give you unfiltered news takes about everything. Why? Because I don't care. I like to give my opinion. I challenge you to search for I challenge you to find a contradicting opinion of me, and then figure out something that works best for you and your families. Why? Because that's what you should do. You should be critical thinking. The people that are able to critically think will do incredibly well. If you don't critically think, you will stay poor. Is that mean to say? It could be, but at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're going to make life-changing gains if you're going to be lazy. You be lazy. Looking forward to be the next week. Oh, you're going to be a grandpa next week? Shout out to Stray Dog. All right, let's go ahead and give the channel members a shout out. I'm overstimulated as hell right now, you guys. There's so much happening right now. Shout out to Julie, to Queen, to D, to Alexandra, to Legend, to Mr. R, to Mr. John Germain. Who else? Timp is up in here. All right, let's get into it because we have a lot to cover. I know the title might be a little bit scary for some people. Bank collapse incoming. Let's talk about that. What does that mean? So, traditional finance. First off, if you live in America, you are forced to put your money into a bank account. If you don't have a bank account, it's very hard to get a job. It's very hard to rent. I'm still bullish as all hell. I'm bullish as all hell, and I'm buying. But if you live in America, you're required to use a bank. You literally cannot. You can't do anything without a bank account. That's just how it works here. And if you tell me that I'm wrong, unless you're doing some sort of hustle, you got to have a bank account. So why do I think the banks could collapse? Well, if they don't get this sorted with the tariffs, if they don't get this sorted with the interest rates, if they don't get, Trump did pause the tariffs. We're going to cover that. There's a lot to cover today. If they don't get these things sorted, the banks are going to collapse again, just like we saw in 2008. Credit card debt is absolutely off the hook. I do not have the exact numbers about credit card debt in America, but credit card debt is just as bad as a housing crash that we had in 2008. The difference between that is people were just getting mortgages just to get mortgages. Because the lenders are unscrupulous. The salespeople were terrible, and they're doing the same thing in credit cards. Anybody could apply and get a credit card. However, the difference between the interest rates for houses and credit cards, what was it, 8 to 5% back then? I don't even know. And now it's 30 to 40%. Okay. And so most people, they're down so bad financially, most of them, not necessarily their fault, but most people cannot afford goods and services like basic stuff like food, shelter, and energy. So they're having to put things on credit cards. So that's why we have a lot of credit card debt. Plus, this particular generation, for some reason, you guys love to hear rich people take out debt. That's not how it works. Rich people that take out debt, they have backup plans. They just don't take out debt and have hope. They also have assets to essentially help with that. Okay. So if you're going to take out debt, you need to have a plan. And also the instant gratification thing, that buy, and the Klarna and all that other crap, that's bad. That is bad. Shout out to Lawrence for the $5 super chat. Oh, thank you so much. And shout out to BMO. But the instant gratification, y'all are going to have to cut that out. There's something called disposable income, and disposable income is when you budget, you forgo something that's a luxury. You take that disposable income and then you can go ahead and invest as you please. So we need to start relearning on how to use our money wisely. I'm not telling you to go without. I'm not telling you to not, to do anything. I'm simply telling you really need to think about it. How many times has Trump been bankrupt? I don't really care. How many times he's been bankrupt. So sometimes business people, they go bankrupt sometimes. And that's a hard thing with being an entrepreneur too. Again, I voted for Trump because he's pro crypto. I also did not vote for Biden because for reasons. But I think that we should have had younger candidates either way. And I don't really care. Like all this low IQ, oh, tell me Trump could be. I don't really care. I voted for a pro crypto president. That's exactly what I got. That's exactly what I got. Secured against house, though, thus can't get margin called. I hope you're okay. Also, too, Coinbase is advertising. Oh, I want to go to Scotland. Coinbase is also advertising if you can't afford to pay your taxes, you can go ahead and take out a collateralized loan against your Bitcoin via them. That is the dumbest thing ever. If you cannot afford to pay your taxes, you need to call the IRS and get that sorted. But a lot of you guys, including myself, we need to be smart. We need to be smarter with our money. What does being smarter with your money mean? Being smarter with your money means being careful where you spend it and how you spend it and what you invest in. Money does not grow on trees. It is incredibly hard to earn, especially in 2025. So with that being said, most of us that have shout out to Ecuador. Most of us that have 401ks, this is not bothering us right now because we can't even cash those out till you're like 65. Or IRAs or traditional financial investments for the most part. So on that front, but at the same time, we need to do something. So apparently all tariffs have been paused for the next 90 days, and they really are going to have to figure out a little bit how to negotiate things. Look at the smooth hair. Thank you. I just washed it. All right, we're going to go ahead and get in the news. We're going to talk about things. I'm going to walk you guys through the market. Yes, I am buying. I am not buying stocks right now. I don't really mess with stocks. I do have a old 401k from my old job, whatever. But back to the whole bank collapsing thing. Banks take our money. We're forced to deposit money in them. Then they take that money, then they invest, and they pay us literally like nothing. Okay. Did Trump fold for the 90-day pause? I don't necessarily think so. Because they had 50 to 70 countries that reached out to him to want to negotiate. Yes, you can cash out, but you pay higher taxes. Why the hell would you pay higher taxes? Why? Stupid. Makes no sense. Shout out to Jared for the super chat, $199. Back to banks. So banks, we're forced to deposit our money. They take our money. They invest it in other things. A lot of them make poor investments because they're stupid. And then we eat the cost. So that's what's going on with banks. And that's why if this does not get situated, banks will collapse. And guess who gets to bail them out? We do again. Hedge funds, they're being hot messes. And a lot of people don't know that hedge funds will actually buy these businesses and then essentially bankrupt them while they're shorting so that they make money. And that's another issue that we have. Wall Street and traditional finance gets to do whatever the hell they want. And this is why I love crypto, because if you're intelligent enough and you work hard enough, you will thrive. You will do well. Now, let's go ahead and get into the news. So this is the current state of the market over here. Current state of the market. Everything is up actually pretty decently, which I'm pretty pissed off because it dumped and I didn't miss I missed to get some Aave and to Link and some HBAR and all kinds of stuff. So I'm a little pissed about that, but it happens. We're going to expect more volatility. You've been watching the show since before Trump got elected. I told you Q1 and Q2 will be incredibly volatile. On the weekly, Fartcoin is up about 41% as the winner, because why wouldn't Fartcoin be up? Also, if you guys want to trade with me, I'm on Femex and they have a promotion right now. They're giving up to $2,100 away. So if you guys are interested, great. If you're not, that's fine too. But that helps support me, support the channel. Not your keys, not your coins. Read the terms of service and no need to use high leverage. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. I told you guys I need to see a move up above $80,000 to be a little bit more bullish. Technically really 84 because we would break above this trend line. Now, with that being said, we had a monster pump from 74,000 up to about 81,000, currently trading at 80,000. At bare minimum, I want to see a close above here, and then we can go ahead and tackle like $84,000. That would make me feel incredibly bullish. Market CIPHER has a nice little bottom here. We're getting ready to rock up, but we did go down in this area between $73,000. That's an area we talked about, and we went ahead and went through it. Taking a look at the 4 hours pumping, primarily because they announced the pause on the tariffs for 90 days. Personally, there's two scenarios here. Either Trump folded, or he's using it as a negotiation tactic. I think he's going to be using it as a negotiation tactic, in my personal opinion. That's just me, though. I'm also an insane person, and I make very, very irrational decisions sometimes as well. But Trump acts like a teenage girl. Why not? Now, taking a look at Ethereum. Ethereum's on its way up. We finally had a nice little rebound. Shout out. We got 100 messages, and we have over 500 people watching, 400 people on TikTok. Shout out to all you guys. Shout out to Callie. Now, Ethereum needs to sustain really above 1631. for us to be bullish. But again, if the market dumps, everything is going to dump as well. Now, with that being said, we need to continue to go upward. So everything is up a little bit. Solana had a really nice move to 119, SUI 217, XRP is back above $2. Let's hope that we get that nice little close over here. This is incredibly important support, primarily because we haven't really dipped below $2 since December. We've had little swing wick lows on the daily, but not crazy dips. Taking a look at the two coins I really want to pick up more. I want to pick up Aave, and HBAR is actually up too. It dropped all the way to 12 cents and it's up 16 cents. So if you got in, you made some money. That's a nice short-term trade. Aave is back up to about 140. I should have bopped down here. I didn't. I was a little bit busy yesterday and tired. I had lunch with my family, my mama and my sister. And where the hell is Link? Link is over here at $12.31. So the market is rebounding based off of this news. This will continue to happen until we kind of sort things out. That's what I personally think is going to happen. I do need to pull up some of these news stories for you guys. So please bear with me because there's breaking news that just came out. Hold on. Okay. This is from Mr. Mixing. So Trump raises tariffs on China to 125% and authorizes 90-day pause on all non-retaliating countries. Okay, so this makes sense. So that's exactly what happened. So basically, this is the story. He raised China's tariffs to 125% because they don't want to negotiate, which this does put TikTok at risk, and it puts at risk a lot of small businesses, people that buy from Shein and from Amazon and all kinds of stuff on small businesses is absolutely horrible. It's just not a good thing. But he is authorizing a 90-day pause on non-retaliating countries. So basically what I think he's doing is, I think that the countries that have complied, the countries that have shown good faith, he is going to have a conversation with them. They're going to figure out what it is that they need to do. And he might figure out how to get some of that. Reloaded 30 bands at 186 on XRP, baby. Shout out to Eddie. That's awesome. That's how we buy the dip there. That's awesome. So I think what he's going to do is he's probably going to talk to these other countries that didn't want to retaliate and see how that they can fill the gap with China. That's what I think is going to happen. But again, I'm just an idiot on the internet. It don't matter. It doesn't matter. Now let's get back into the news. There's a lot of stuff to cover. So this is from Miss Kathy Wood. I like Kathy Wood. This is from Zero Hedge. And again, some of these things are old, but we still have to talk about it. She says, Zero Hedge notes a swap spread suggesting serious liquidity issues in the U.S. banking system. This crisis is calling out for some kind of Mar-a-Lago accord on free trade in tandem with serious support from the Fed. No more time to waste. So basically, they're talking about a 3-year free fall plummeting to all-time lows as funding squeeze emerges, presumably Federal Reserve is on top of it. So this is basically talking about, are they going to raise rates? Are they going to pause them? What are they going to do? Or are we going to print more money? Because again, that generally could potentially happen. Also, 3-year SOFR is a 3-year short-term swap futures contract. And those are contracts that allow traders to hedge against interest rate fluctuations. See what a Ponzi all of this is? Wood urges fiscal and monetary policies to stabilize the market, and she urged the Fed to step in. She warned the banking system can face significant strain without intervention. Guess what? The banking system is a big Ponzi too. That's just another Ponzi. The fact that they take our money and they loan it out, really without our consent, like we know that they're doing it, but at the same time, like we have to use a bank. We really don't have a choice. We don't have a say what they invest in either. So that's where it gets to be a little bit problematic for me. That's what I don't like. But at the same time, if the banks crash, guess who gets to bail them out? We do. FDIC is not even going to cover part of it. Next, Trump says the U.S. is taking $2 billion a day in tariffs. I don't believe this. I think he just said this, and I think it was stupid for him to say. I don't think that they are doing, or they're, I have who even knows? I have no idea. And he's just out the side of his mouth right now. Again, just because I voted for him doesn't mean I agree with him with everything. All right. So this was earlier. Source close to Trump White House says they are pressing with their tariff plan based on the calculation. Let's go ahead and talk about this calculation over here from Mr. Charles and Mr. Dean. So who has Trump's ear the most when it comes to tariffs in the economy? So Trump has advisors. Trump likes to delegate tasks, and that's exactly what he has been doing. What does that mean? Well, just because the president doesn't make all the choices, the president has advisors. So key points from Mr. Charles G. Trump continues with tariff strategy despite stock market turmoil and believes that Wall Street losses won't significantly impact the broader Main Street economy. Officials think negative wealth effect mainly affects non-MAGA affluent voters. Confidence that job market will remain strong due to deregulation tax cuts. The job market is not strong at all. And all the stuff that's happening, it's not just it's hurting both blue and red. So that's stupid. Expectation that future trade deals will soften tariff impact and stabilize market. And White House believes they're politically safe for now. Some see it as a gamble. So I don't know. It is a big gamble what they're doing. Also, too, President Trump said this is a great time to buy before they did the pause. And you know what? He was right. He was right. So if you bought that dip, congratulations. I missed out because I was eating calzones with my mama. So if you guys bought the dip, you're doing great. Also, people are talking about Eric Trump in this tweet here. In my opinion, it's a great time to add ETH. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And if you guys blindly listen to anyone on the internet, you're an idiot. Don't do that. You guys are smarter than that. You guys are smarter than that. Also, too, Trump says, be cool. Everything is going to work out well. The USA will be bigger and better than ever before. We'll see what happens. I hope so, because the previous administration and the last, and since the 90s, America has been an absolute hot mess. So hopefully we'll see that, but it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. Now, the Spectator says, Trump says it's a great time to move your company into the United States. This I do agree with. But they are going to have to do something when it comes to the cost to operate. They're going to need to use some sort of government money potentially. And I know I don't want to talk about it, but they're going to have to use some sort of government money to essentially help subsidize some of these small businesses. I think it would be great to open a business in America, but again, it's so damn expensive. Even when we're talking about like living in California, it's so expensive to do business in the United States of America. So if we want people to come to America or have their businesses in America, they're going to have to do a little bit of reworking and not offering capital gains for people. They need to do something with income tax, etc. But he says it's a great time to move your company into the United States of America, like Apple and so many others, and record numbers are doing so. Zero tariffs and almost immediate electrical energy hookups and approvals. No environmental delays. Do not wait. Do it now. I appreciate that, but at the same time, it depends what state you do business in. If you do state in California, it's almost impossible to do well. So they're going to have to really work on a state level to make it inspiring for companies to come here. Now, this is from Mr. Charles. He says, if China is dumping treasuries, this hasn't been confirmed, and jacking up long yields, of course, would show they are willing to go to nuclear war with Trump over the tariffs. They aren't the only buyers of our debt, but they are important and they could cause a lot of havoc within the U.S. economy. And he's talking about today. This should be interesting, and I agree with him. It's just a big Ponzi with all these people selling debt back and forth to each other. And really, all of the countries are all relying on each other at the end of the day. He also, and then Zero Hedge says the one is absolutely disingenuine. Expect 8 handle if tariff goes live at midnight. Again, this is a little bit different. So yesterday we had talked about a scenario, give yield on stables to start with. So yesterday we had talked about a scenario that from Arthur Hayes that China might, to hedge against everything happening, they might buy a large portion of Bitcoin and pump Bitcoin. That was something Arthur Hayes said. Especially because the won is getting devalued right now. And it's just a game. It's just a big old game. It's a big old circle jerk. That's exactly what all of this stuff is. U.S. bonds way up today. Capitalize on it. I don't know. We'll see what happens with the Chinese yuan. But again, when we're talking about fiat currency, it's all just a Ponzi. It's all a Ponzi. It's all printed out of thin air. And us little guys are just kind of here, just chilling. Now, China posted this. China will raise tariffs for all imported U.S. goods from 34 to 84%. That happened today, too. And that is the Chinese embassy. They also tweeted at real Donald Trump, which is pretty funny, but whatever. Now, this is Kevin O'Leary. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but I do want to hear his take. He says, he makes bold statement has been ongoing tariff war, says I'm advocating for 400%. We'll go ahead and listen to it. But again, I don't really care for his opinion too much. And that's okay to say that. You don't have to care about somebody's opinion, but I still want to hear it. I want to hear a different opinion, a different opinion.
104% tariffs on China are not enough. I'm advocating 400%. I do business in China. They don't play by the rules. They've been in the WTO for decades. They have never abided by any of the rules they agreed to when they came in for decades. They cheat, they steal IP. I can't litigate in their courts. They take product, technology, they steal it, they manufacture it, sell it back here. Never.
You
As an
never understand 400% tariff? What would
I
it look
want
like?
Xi on an airplane to Washington to level the playing field. It's just not about tariffs anymore. Nobody has taken on China yet, not the Europeans, no administration for decades. As someone who actually does business there, I've had enough. I speak for millions of Americans who have IP that have been stolen by the Chinese. I have nothing against the Chinese people. They brought great literacy, art, and tech to the world. The government cheats and steals, and finally, an administration, you may not like Trump, you may not like his style or his rhetoric, finally, an administration that puts up and says enough. 400% tariffs tomorrow morning. He'll tell you why. Xi can only stay the supreme leader if people are employed. If we wipe out any business there, because we are still 39% of all consumables on Earth and 25% of the world's GDP, America is the #1 economy on Earth with all the cards. We will not have that forever. It's time to squeeze Chinese heads into the wall now.
Well, hold on. I hear you, but hold on. If we're talking about people, the average consumer, not necessarily the head honchos of businesses all across the globe, can they withstand the pressure of that sort of tax on the goods?
It's short-lived. There will be
but what's your timeline compared? You don't know sort of the average American's timeline, what they can actually survive. There's people right now who can't survive.
100% tomorrow morning, Xi's on an airplane to Washington to cut a deal. 104%.
Okay, so this was posted this morning. So there's a couple things I want to talk about. Okay. Does China play by the rules? Well, he does business out there. So I'm not going to take his word for it, but I am going to hear his opinion, and I'm going to take that into consideration. And this is how you critically think here. I'm going to show you all how to do this. Okay. So even though I'm like with him just because of like all the FTX and all that other crap he was saying, that's neither here nor there. That's his opinion. He's entitled to it. But should we do 400% tariffs? Would it be a massive blow to them? Yes. Could it potentially work? Yes. Who is it going to hurt short term? It will hurt small businesses. It's going to hurt retail. It's going to hurt the poor. It's going to hurt middle class, lower middle class, the poor. That's who it's really going to hurt. Or it's going to hurt people that are upper middle class. Okay. For someone like Kevin Leary, because he has a lot of wealth, and again, no shade in that at all. Congratulations to him for being so successful. But when you have a lot of wealth, you could sustain these types of hard periods, like especially if you have your house paid off, if you got a lot of money in savings, those types of things. So for him, he's going to be fine. And when they're talking about short term, they're saying, oh yeah, well, the peons, basically that's what they refer us to, retail poor and stupid. It's going to impact us. But is he right about the way the Chinese government does business? I've never done business to that extent in China, but again, those are things that I've heard. So potentially, and it is what it is. So it's an interesting take that he has. I'm not discounting it. I'm not going to disagree with him too terribly much, but I just don't know how that's going to play out. Like, how long is that going to last, et cetera. So we're going to have to wait and see. But I did want to play it because I did think it was an interesting take. And just because I don't agree with him on everything doesn't mean that I can't, play a clip by him and hear what he has to say. This is how you learn and you educate yourself. And China does take a lot of IP stuff that they do. But I digress. Got to get into more news. We got so much to cover today. Pump, baby, pump. Next, Besson asked about removing Chinese stocks from U.S. exchanges. Everything is on the table. This was earlier this morning as well. So this is another tactic that the United States of America could potentially do. Is they could remove Chinese stocks to further cause injury to China over the tariff war or the trade war. Breaking: European Union approves retaliatory tariffs between 10% and 25% on U.S. goods. Okay. This is from the Kobelsi letter. You can't make this up. The 10-year note yield now up 60% basis points in 48 hours. At this rate, we'll have 8% mortgages in a recession by the end of the month. This is the thing, you guys. We are in a recession. We are in a recession. We've been in a recession, okay? And that's an annoying thing. Like, we've been in a damn recession. So it really bothers me when people are like, oh my God, like we're not in a recession. No, we've been in a recession, okay? Mortgages, I don't know what they're going to do to fix that, but no one is really buying houses anyways because there's not a whole lot of inventory. People are kind of scared to do stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't really necessarily know enough about it, but recessions, yes, we are definitely in a recession. Next, 30-year Treasury yield is now above 5%. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon says a recession in the United States is now a likely outcome. These people are so stupid to me. Like, how are we not in a recession? How are we not? I teeth are kind of y'all. I got to get these guys lightened. Anyways, we're not in a recession. Or excuse me, we've been in a recession. We have been in a recession. Okay. We've been in a recession. It's people out of their minds. And that's why I get so irritated with economists and with all these ivory towers, especially in TradFi. They're so completely detached from reality. Now, this is from Blockchain Daily News. So, and this is... Apparently, this is from the SEC. MicroStrategy filing says they may be forced to sell Bitcoin below their cost basis to service their debt in the event of a continued market downturn. So this is kind of FUD. hold on. So this account here, they're saying per this document here from the SEC that Strategy may be forced to sell Bitcoin if it can't secure financing through equity or debt. The company's ability to settle debts is tied to Bitcoin's price, which is currently lower than the purchase price. In some cases, yes. If selling Bitcoin, Strategy could incur significant loss. That's true. The company has $8 billion in debt and highly yearly obligations, making Bitcoin sale potential solution to meet financial needs. Strategy's financial strategy may involve selling to raise funds if no other sources of capital are secure. So I do want to talk about this a little bit. This could actually, this could eventually, this could be true. So MicroStrategy prints money out of thin air. They want to raise more money. They want to raise more capital. So do you know what they do? They're like, you know what? Because we're like part of TradFi and we're accredited investors and institutional investors, we're just going to create a traditional financial instrument. We're going to sell it. We are going to raise money, and then we are going to buy more Bitcoin. And I think that's a recipe, a disastrous recipe, especially what's happening right now, because everybody's kind of selling their stocks and selling their stuff. A lot of people, there are people buying, but not at the state that we were buying before. So shout out to Michael Saylor. I hope they're okay, because if something happens with them and their Bitcoin, it's going to pack the market like crazy. But their strategy scares me. It does. It really, 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 really scares me. And yes, it will impact the market. Now, Van Eck confirms, this is from Sasha. She is an attorney. She says, Van Eck confirms that China and Russia are settling energy trades in Bitcoin. De-dollarization is here. The U.S. should immediately end sanctions on Russia, or it's game over for USD. So this is what she's saying, and this is according to Van Eck, and she's quoting Matthew Siegel. And then it's over here. China and Russia reportedly begin settling some energy transactions in Bitcoin and other digital assets. Me personally, I think that they will do it in their digital currency. They don't necessarily need to do it in Bitcoin, but at the same time, Bitcoin can be used for this. It definitely can be used for this. And again, things are definitely heating up when it comes to this trade war. Bo Hines, digital asset firms were victims of weaponized justice system under the Biden regulatory regime. Again, this is why I voted for Trump. President Trump is the true crypto president. Under his leadership, will usher in a golden age for digital assets and emerging financial technologies. I think that this is 100% true. However, it's going to take time to see this actually come to fruition. He emphasized that Trump has made crypto priority and that the U.S. will create the most friendly, pro-crypto friendly regulatory environment, which we're already seeing happening right now. And he also said we're going to usher in a golden age, which I sure hope so, because my bags need to pump, baby. Needs to pump. Now we got some Hedera news over here. Hedera is now a member of Global DOGE, helping shape standards, trust, and responsibility adoption across digital asset space. It's going to be through open collaboration with regulators, builders, and innovators. And basically, why is this important? Well, this is important basically because of what Bo Hines just said. Okay, he's the executive director, the president's counsel, advisor for digital assets. Digital asset firms were victims, and now Trump is essentially going to usher in the golden age for digital assets and emerging financial technologies. And they're going to be doing this with people like Hedera, companies like Hedera and Link and Ripple and whatnot, companies that are actively going to the White House and talking. This is why it matters, and this is why it's so important. So basically, Hedera is going to walk in and they'll be like, hey, we should do X, Y, and Z. And then the public servants will be like, okay, maybe. And so they basically have a seat at the table, which is good and bullish. Now, apparently, this is from Look On Chain, but World Liberty Finance started selling Ethereum at a loss. According to an Arkham wallet, possibly, and again, it's possibly linked to World Liberty Finance. They sold over 5,000 Ethereum at $1,400 30 minutes ago. I'm not sure if this is true or not. Again, it's allegedly, but if they did sell, that's kind of ridiculous considering the market will rebound. Also, too, this is from Benzinga, but they said XRP will overtake Ethereum by 2028, and this is from Standard Charter. This is from Standard Charter. So that's what Standard Charter has been giving a lot of really crazy predictions lately, but we'll have to see. But basically, Ethereum is in a lot of trouble right now, and the reasons they give in this piece is that cross-border and cross-currency payments, sustained increase in transaction volumes, XRP's niche advantage, shift in market dynamics, mainstream financial integration, Ethereum's relative underperformance. Ripple does things differently. Ripple does things differently than XRP. So it's kind of hard to compare them, but at the same time, we'll see. We'll see. Also, some ETF news. Canary Sui ETF inches closer to launching in the US. So again, I think Sui is a block based in America, right? Let's double check. Do your due diligence. Also, to smash the like. Take a look at the US. I'm tired this week, and I did ARMS today. So Sui's made in the USA. So again, every single coin that's on this list, start researching them. Or don't. I don't care. I would, though. Most of them are going to get ETFs, and that could add up to $8 billion of liquidity into the market. Next, 21 shares. What is going on? What is going on? What is going on over here? Let's see. 21 shares to list Dogecoin ETP backed by Foundation 6 Swiss exchange. Cool. This is over in the Swiss, though, not here. Kraken also has a partnership to launch debit cards in the UK, which is interesting. Good. Congratulations to them. Also, the deputy attorney released a memorandum titled Ending Regulation by Prosecution, and digital asset industry is critical to the nation's economic development and innovation. I personally think we're getting an ETF. But this is good. So basically, the new directive narrows focus to crypto using T, D, T, and OC. Ongoing investigations not aligned in the new policy will be closed. DOJ will no longer target crypto exchanges, mixers, or wallets for users' actions or unintentional violations. This is actually beautiful right here. Absolutely beautiful here. So basically, they're going after people that are committing real fraud or committing crimes, not people that were just kind of caught up in the BS. I love it. I really, really appreciate it. And if you're not like stories like this should actually get you excited moving forward, primarily because if you are not excited moving forward, that we have we're getting clarity. We're getting an update on what's going on, and they're pushing positive regulation through and positive actions through. This is bullish. Like, it was so scary for a while kind of being in crypto, because especially as YouTuber, you don't know when somebody's going to sue you. Well, if anybody could sue you, but if they're going to go after you for something. So that's good. That's positive for the industry moving forward. And I'm proud to have voted for I voted for. Now, this is from Miss Ellie over here. Seems to be, oh, hold on. Let me go ahead and, oh, that was part of that too. Okay. What is it? Wait, hold on. Yeah. They're disbanding the National Crypto Enforcement Team, and they're only going after things I can't say. Also, New York bill proposes using blockchain to safeguard election results. I want this. I want to see blockchain being used to verify voting on chain. I do, because there's so much fraud that goes on, and I think that blockchain is a perfect way to do it. So shout out to New York for wanting to put this through. I completely agree with it, and I think that it's doable. And Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent just ended a speech this morning saying we will take a closer look at regulatory impediments to blockchain, stablecoins, and new payment systems. Let's go ahead and listen.
We will take a close look at regulatory impediments to blockchain, stablecoins, and new payment systems. And we will consider reforms to unleash the awesome power of the American capital markets. Americans deserve a financial services industry that works for all Americans, including and especially Main Street. Under President Trump's leadership, the Treasury Department and I will deliver that to you. Thank you.
This is basically, this is a CBDC. I don't trust these guys, so this is a CBDC. That's just my opinion, though. And people are like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Okay. Anyways, you guys, I got to get going. I got a lot of work to do. We got an early day today for Low. We've got vocals and guitar. We've got homework. I'm like exhausted. I might actually have another cup of coffee. I'm so damn tired right now. So I'm going to got to finish my work, and I will be back. I'm going to drop a video for you guys at 2 p.m. PST. Make sure you guys check it out. Thank you so much to TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitch. I will catch you guys later today.